Good day, Miss Erin. Good day, classmates. I am Maria Filomena Ardiente, and I will be the first reporter for Group 3. So, today we will be exploring an interesting topic that combines science, health, and politics genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Let's start with a real life example. In the Philippines, a farmer named Rosalie Ilasos saw a significant increase in her corn yield after adopting BT corn, genetically modified crop resistant to pests. This story highlights the potential benefits of GMOs, but it also raises important questions about their impact on our lives. So, in this lesson, we'll delve into the world of genetic engineering, discuss its applications, and examine the controversies surrounding GMOs. So, let's dive in and explore this complex and fascinating topic.
My name is Manuel John Samtina. So this is my report. What is GMO? GMO means genetically modified organism is a living organism such as a plant, animal, or microorganism whose DNA has been intentionally changed through genetic engineering. This means scientists can insert specific genes from one organism, for example, bacteria, into another like a plant, to give it new traits such as resistant to pests. Resistant to pests means that the plant can protect itself from insects or bugs that usually damage it. So diseases, viruses, bacteria, or fungi, or environmental condition. This help crops grow better even in difficult climates.
I'm Liana Nicole R. August. Now we're gonna tackle about GMOs in food and agricultural industries. Now that you have already know what GMOs are, so let's move on how they are used in the food and agricultural industries. According to the Center for Ecogenetics and Environmental Health 2013, GMOs serve many important roles that help improve farming, crop production, and even the quality of food we eat. So here is the roles of GMOs in the food and agricultural industries. So first is the pest resistance. Genetically modified plants to resist certain pests. So it means scientists modify plants so they can protect themselves from insects that can also kill harmful insects, keeping the crops healthy and productive. So for example, the BT corn. The DNA or genome of the BT corn has been modified with the gene of Bacillus thuringiensis, a soil bacterium that produces proteins which is toxic to corn borers or worms. Second is virus resistance. Genetically modified plants to resist certain viruses. So it means plants are modified to fight viruses in order to stay healthy and continue growing properly. Example is GM papaya or rainbow papaya, created by inserting a protein from the papaya ring spot virus or PRSV into the plant, making it resistant to the virus similar to how vaccines protect humans. Another is herbicide tolerance. Genetically modify plants to tolerate herbicide. For this, some plants are trained so they can survive when herbicides are used to remove weeds. Example is the Roundup Ready soybean, modified with a gene that makes it tolerant to glyphosate herbicide, allowing farmers to kill weeds without harming the soybean plants. Fourth is fortification. Genetically modified plants fortified with certain minerals. This means plants are improved to have added nutrients or vitamins. An example is golden rice, engineered with beta-carotene genes to produce vitamin A, helping prevent vitamin A deficiency. Next is cosmetic preservation. Genetically modified plants resist natural discoloration. Some plants are modified to stay fresh-looking even after being cut or bruised. Example is Arctic apple. The apple variety was genetically modified to suppress the browning of apple due to superficial damage. And lastly is increased growth rate. Genetically modified organisms that have higher yield or faster growth than normal species. So some organisms are modified, that's why it grow faster and produce more. For example, aquadvantage salmon, modified with a gene from an ocean pout to help it grow faster than regular salmon.
Good day, everyone. I am Samantha Nicole Campania. Today, I'm going to discuss about genetically modified organisms. When we talk about GMOs or genetically non-food crops and microorganisms, we mean these are plants, animals, or microorganisms whose genes have been changed using modern biotechnology to give them new traits or abilities. We mean organisms that are genetically modified not for eating, but for other useful purposes, such as making better flowers, producing more papers, or creating medicines, and etc. Let me explain or talk about each one in detail. Number one, flower production. In flower production, scientists use GMOs to create flowers in new colors and longer vase life. For example, we all know that roses are naturally comes in color like red, pink, and white, but not blue. So scientists work on creating blue roses using genetic modification. They insert a gene called flavonoids 3' to 5' hydroxylase into irregular roses, which gene changes into flower pigment pathway, allowing it to produce delphinidin, the pigment responsible for blue color and flowers. Number two, paper production. We have paper production here. GMOs are used to prove the quality of trees used for making paper. For example, poplar trees. Normally, wood contains a tough chemical called lignin, which makes trees strong but difficult to process when making paper. Scientists modified the genes of young poplar trees so that their lignin is easier to break down. By inserting genes related to ferrolyzed acid, they change the lignin structure, such means less chemical processing is needed to make paper. Number three, pharmaceutical production. GMOs are used in pharmaceuticals or the production of medicines. Some plants are modified to produce substances that are useful for drug making. For example, the periwinkle plant naturally produces a compound called vinblastine, which is used to make medicine for cancer treatments like Hodgkin's lymphoma. Scientists insert bacteria genes into the periwinkle plant to help it produce even more vinblastine. In short, GMOs help scientists develop plants that can produce larger amounts of important medical compounds. To summarize, in flower production, GMOs helps make new colors and longer-lasting flowers. In paper production, GMOs make trees easier to process, improving paper quality and production speed. And in pharmaceutical production, GMOs help plants produce valuable medicines. Overall, GMOs in non-food crops and microorganisms plays a big role in process industry and medicine, not just in food we eat and the things we use.
I am Osman Bibi. So what is bioremediation? Bioremediation uses naturally occurring organisms like bacteria, fungi, and plants to clean up environmental pollutants in soil, water, and air. Bioremediation is a living organisms. These organisms can break down toxic chemicals, remove heavy metals, and degrade pollutants. Next is enzymes are used in drug production both as therapeutic agents as tools for creating drug compounds through biocatalysis. Enzymes is used in drug production into two ways. Number one is therapeutic agent. Enzymes can be used as medicine to treat disease. Number two is biocatalysis. Enzymes can speed up chemical reaction to create drug compounds. Example is insulin production. Enzymes are used to convert proinsulin to insulin, a crucial hormone for diabetes treatment. Next is genetically modified organism or GMOs are essentially and medicine for getting drugs like insulin and vaccine, developing disease models for research and advancing gene therapies to treat genetic disorder like cancer and infectious disease. Examples is insulin-producing bacteria. Bacteria can be genetically modified to produce human insulin, making it possible to mass-produce this life-saving drug for diabetes treatment.
Hello everyone, I am Karen Jane P. Ople. So after learning about GMOs in non-food crops and microorganisms, let us now proceed to the benefits of GMOs. So studies show that there are many potential benefits of genetically modified organism or GMO. First, higher efficiency in farming. GMO crops are designed to resist pests and herbicides. Because of this, farmers use fewer chemicals, spend less on labor, and save more money. It also makes farming easier and safer for the environment. Second, an increase in harvest. Since GMO crops can fight pests and diseases, they grow healthier and produce more food. This means farmers can harvest more and reduce food loss. It helps improve the country's food supply and support farmers' income. Third, control infertility. The purity of GMO hybrid seed can be maintained to make sure that every planting season gives good and consistent results. This gives farmers reliable seed that help them produce better crops every year. Fourth, increase in food processing. Some GMO crops are modified to make food processing faster and more efficient. This means companies can produce food easier with better quality and less waste. Fifth, improvement of desirable characteristic. GMOs can be made to have better taste, color, and freshness. They also last longer before spoiling, which helps reduce food waste and keeps products appealing to consumers. And lastly, nutritional and pharmaceutical enhancement. Some GMOs are made to be more nutritious, like golden rice, which contains vitamin E and iron, and maize that is rich in lysine for protein. There are also edible vaccines developed from GMO plants that can protect people from diseases like diarrhea and viral infection. Overall, GMOs help make farming easier, increase food production, and improve the quality and nutrition of what we eat.
Good day everyone. I am Regent Tingkang and I'm gonna be tackling about the benefits of GMOs and reduce the use of fertilizer and pesticides. Passage explains how genetically modified organisms or GMOs help reduce the use of fertilizers and pesticides in our agriculture. GMO crops are designed to resist pests and diseases, which means farmers don't need to use as many chemicals to protect their plants. This helps lower production costs and lessen environmental damage. The text also mentions that GMO technology is used in common food products like cereals and pet food, showing how widespread it has become. Additionally, scientists are studying GMO animals such as faster growing salmon and disease resistant chickens, which could improve food production.
I am Jofel Pacaldo, and I will be reporting the potential risk of GMOs. So, what is GMOs? GMO stands for genetically modified organisms. Are organisms, especially crops or animals, whose genetic materials has been altered using genetic engineering techniques. Although GMOs offer benefits like higher crops yields and pesticide resistance, there are still concerns about their possible risks to humans and the environment. Some studies suggest that GMO crops can lead to pesticide resistance weeds, which create new problems for farmers. So, human consumption of GMOs might have the following effects. Experts also worry about the long term effects of genetic engineering, since it may cause unexpected mutations. For people, GMOs might trigger allergic reactions, change nutritional values, or contribute to antibiotic resistance. Because of these uncertainties, many believe more research is needed to fully understand the safety and impact of GMOs.
Hi, I'm Jackson Desinisa, and my topic is potential environmental risk caused by GMO. This topic genetically modified organisms or GMO may benefits agriculture, but they also pose environmental risk. The first risk is gene flow. This means the modified genes from GMO plants can spread to wild species or soil organisms, which might disturb natural ecosystem. The second risk is resistance. When pets and weeds adapt to survive against pesticides or herbicides, they become harder to control. And lastly, recombination of viruses and the bacteria could create new harmful pathogens, and that's why scientists continue to study and monitor GMOs to ensure they are safe for both people and the environment.
Hi everyone, my name is Theodora Bala El Campilan. So for my part, I'll be talking about the other direct and indirect environmental risks caused by GMOs based on Mufinu and Zupu. First, the direct environmental risk. These are the effects that happen right away in the environment. GMOs can sometimes disrupt natural ecosystems or act differently than expected, which could cause new pests or problems. They can also affect natural cycles like how nutrients move in the soil, and the genes of GMOs can stay in the environment even after harvest. So, for example, if GMO corn spreads its pollen to nearby non GMO plants, it might change their natural traits. Next, the indirect environmental risk. These are the effects that happen over time. Using GMOs can change how farmers work, like using more chemicals when pests and weeds become stronger. It can also reduce biodiversity, meaning fewer types of plants and animals survive. Over time, GMO interactions can cause long term negative effects on the environment. So, for example, if farmers use the same GMO crop for many years, other plant species might disappear and insects could evolve to resist the crop's built in pesticides.
Good day, everyone. This is Jessica Escabas, and I'm going to tackle about potential human health risks caused by GMOs. It is a major concern in the use and consumption of GMOs. Its effect on human being, primarily on human health. Some potential human health risks are identified as Consumption of GMOs may have adverse effect since it is not naturally or organically produced. Consumption of GMOs may alter the balance of existing microorganisms in the human digestive system. Production of toxins may be detrimental to human health, and production of allergens may have adverse effect on humans. There are also other potential risks that raise major concern. These are the HGP or Human Genome Project. It is a mapping of human genes to provide framework for research and studies in the field of medicine. Next, the mutation. It is genetically engineered microorganism. It is modified bacteria and viruses may mutate to become more resistant or virulent that may cause more dreadful diseases for human beings. Lastly, the cloning. The asexual reproduction of an organism using parent cell through genetic engineering. On February 24, 1997, the first mammal, Dolly, a sheep from Scotland, was born through cloning. With its celebrated success came from the fear of human cloning. It emerged the ethical issue of man playing God. On the other hand, great fears loom in the process of this quest. There are many things to be considered before a certain medical process using genetic engineering be accepted. The primary issue on GMOs presented in public debate. It is unnatural production or what is termed to be a violation of nature. The creation of new organisms like GMOs pose moral issue and other concern in the potential risk to the environment and human health to which so much is unknown yet.
Hi, I'm Jara Goodwall and I'm the last reporter of the Group 3. And now I will discuss the last part of the Lesson 3, which is the biosafety on GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Biosafety on GMOs. It refers to the measures and regulation designed to protect human health and the environment from potential risks posed by genetically modified organisms. So, in simple terms, it's about keeping people and nature safe when working with GMOs. For example, making sure that modified crops don't spread uncontrollably or harm other species. And now, there are several key principles and international initiatives that help ensure the safe handling and regulation of genetically modified organisms. First principles is the Codex Alimentarius Commissions, also known as Codex, was created by the Food and Agricultural Organization and the World Health Organization. It serves as an international body that sets food standards and safety guidelines. These include checking for possible allergenic reaction, toxic effects, and nutritional changes caused by genetic modification. Although the Codex principles are not legally binding, they serve as a global reference for countries to create or improve their national food safety regulations. And the second principle is the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, established in 2003. The Cartagena Protocol is an international environmental treaty designed to regulate the movement of living modified organisms across borders. Its main goal is to protect biodiversity and human health from potential risks associated with GMOs. Also, it requires exporters to seek permission from importing countries before sending GMOs, ensuring that these organisms do not harm biodiversity or human health. The last principle is the International Trade Agreement on Labeling of GM Food and Food Products. This agreement focuses on transparency and consumer rights. It requires exporters of GM food and food products to label them clearly so consumers can distinguish between GM and non-GM items. It also gives importing countries the right to reject or accept GM food based on their national policies. And the goal of this principle is to give consumers the freedom to choose what they eat and to promote honesty in global food trade. And now, in conclusion, these three principles, Codex, Cartagena Protocol, and International Trade Agreement, work together to ensure that GMOs or genetically modified organisms are developed, traded, and consumed safely while protecting both human health and animals. And that's all. Thank you.